Welcome to Money Hangout once again. Every week we talk about something which is top of your mind. And this Money Hangout session is special. We are doing it from Bhubaneswar. And with me is an old insider from mutual fund industry who started from long time ago. It is about the time when the modern mutual fund industry got started, and he has made his way through a leading fund company and heading it, A. Bala Subramaniam. Welcome to, let's hang out here in Bhubaneswar. And today we are going to talk about building wealth with equity and how things have changed over the last 2 decades, 2.5 decades, close to 2.5 decades since the emergence of the modern mutual fund industry. Stock market used to be a privilege of the affluent, privilege of the very few, and today mutual fund, it has taken long, but it is well on its way to becoming a mainstream way of democratizing markets for the individuals. So this I think is a very significant leap in terms of democratizing financial access to the most sophisticated part of the economy to common people, and we are setting new records. Today we have nearly 5,000 crore flowing into mutual funds. This is every month by way of the SIP, the regular small investments from ordinary people into mutual fund. For the first time, we have a large number of individuals who have a demonstrated experience of building wealth through mutual fund. So it has been a long journey, and I'm going to have a conversation with Bala on this issue, just recalling how things have evolved. How things have evolved over the last 20 years, ever since you got started and you're early in your career. Did you ever think that it'll come this long?
No, we never thought it would become so big. At every point of time, the industry went through a tough time, in the sense that every 3 years or 4 years, we used to see something or other coming and hurting the sentiment and creating fluctuation in the market. And sometimes it used to some of the internal economical challenges. And the same way we used to have many challenges that used to come and hit the global market. Another, money being fungible, and if Japan sneezes, India gets a cold. That's why there used to be a time where we used to joke in the market actually. And we have seen fluctuation in the market. And that fluctuation, I think clearly while it exists, it is supposed to be part and parcel of the market. But the mutual fund industry is one industry, has grown from strength to strength in the last 20 years. I think you took the number of, but SAP as one of the number that you took. Clearly the structure of the industry is now becoming more in such a manner that is now becoming sustainable, as well as becoming systematic investment that is coming through the investors. And people are also looking at a mutual fund as a long-term savings vehicle, rather than just use the vehicle for playing in the stock market. And that's where I think it got evolved.
As you are becoming mainstream, as you are becoming big, and more investors entrust their lifetime savings to you.
Correct.
What all do you do now to reduce their exposure to undue risk, something which they did not bargain for? List me all the things that you do to protect their interest.
Yeah, I think clearly it again got evolved. I think as I mentioned earlier, the fluctuations, volatility, and living in uncertainty, which I earlier mentioned about. But all of them actually, while they exist part and parcel of the industry, the discipline in which the money managers are supposed to manage, the first and foremost is the diversifications. Every portfolio if I take, whether it is an equity portfolio or a fixed income portfolio, the number of investments that we make in the portfolios actually represents not just only one company, not only one sector, it represents multiple sectors. That's actually is clear diversification. Diversification is something, is one. And second is the discipline one has to maintain with respect to the scheme objective. Every scheme has got certain purpose, and it has got its own objective. And walking the talk, which money managers have to apply from the point of view of sticking to the objective of the respective schemes, as another risk measurement that has come as part of the overall discipline. And these two combination have been ensuring that the portfolio delivers to large extent, to the extent of predictability. The predictability of the fund also goes up as a result of that. See, money manager at the end of the day, when he operates in the market, he will of course get influenced by the market fluctuation. And because of the discipline which is built in as part of the overall process, it ensures that from the investor's point of view, the longer term protections in some form comes as part of that.
One important question, of course, mutual funds are very well regulated, and they are, we have never had a situation where mutual funds ever had no mutual fund ever closed down or ran away with the money.
True.
But people are very much used to Ponzi schemes. This is a question which I keep getting, but I want to hear you on, can mutual funds ever become a Ponzi scheme or run away with investors' money?
Absolutely no. Absolutely no. I think the answer is absolutely no. The reason is, I think mutual fund is the only industry discloses all the portfolio to the last pie from the point of view of from the point of view of giving out details of where money is invested.
And
the industry is raised about 20 lakh.
They verify things and validate things, and that's the design of the industry.
No, even if the regulator doesn't verify it for the sake of assumption, the whole industry is verify each other. And the market is so dynamic. People like you do your own analysis of how each of the money managers are doing. Therefore, the transparency levels are so high. From the investor's point of view, everything is disclosed to the last pie. The other thing which I want to just say it, 20 lakh crore what the industry is managing today, and Birla Mutual is managing about 2 lakh 47 crores, 2 lakh 47 crores currently. The entire 2 lakh 37 crores assets, how it has been built, you can see it across all the schemes.
We can see each and every asset which make up this.
Exactly. Yeah. If we do own say 2% of one of the stocks in the market, let us take example of TCS, you will see it, yes, the mutual fund holders own 2% in the portfolio. The same way, we have lent money to somebody, we know actually whom we have lent. The biggest difference between the Ponzi scheme operator, as well as even the banks for that matter, where do you lend, where do you make an investment is not disclosed to the public at large. That is the responsibility of the management and the board of such kind of companies. But in the case of a mutual fund, every investment that we do, whether in the form of lending or in the form of owning a company to generate wealth for the investors, company shares, all of them actually disclosed in such a manner. The investors who put their money can see it in the
so transparency brings in the biggest accountability.
Exactly.
One more thing, net asset value, which is calculated every day, which also brings in a great accountability. What is the possibility of NAV, which is actually the basis, which is the price of a mutual fund, because that is on which investors buy and sell. How that is the money which investors put their money at or take their money out.
Correct.
What is the possibility of that being wrong or not being very close to the most realistic value?
I think very remote again. Going wrong is extremely remote. The way checks and balance also has been put by the industry. If the market goes up by say 1% and your NAV goes up by say 3%, that means you have certain extra gain that you are getting out of from unique stock that you may have or unique security that you may have in your portfolio. The same way the NAV is actually going up by 1% because of the market is gone up by 1%, whereas your portfolio yields have gone down by say 2%. That means something is wrong. The checks and mechanism that has been put in place while calculating the NAV by the industry players, I think it clearly takes care of any such kind of fluctuations. Second is the mutual fund is one industry. Again, I am coming back to the 20 lakh crore which I mentioned. The 20 lakh crore today is valued to large extent through the realizable value in the market. And you take the market price that is available in the public domain. Yeah. And the same way for fixed income securities, all of us manage a large pool of fixed income securities, and that the price of the fixed income securities directly linked to the interest rate movement. If the interest rates go up, your portfolio value has to go down. If the interest rates go down, your portfolio value has to go up. Is there any public domain in which you are getting the price? No. So the industry actually is through the best practice guidelines under the AMFI as an umbrella, as well as under the guidance of SEBI as a regulator. They have actually evolved a system of valuation of securities, which I think is true representative of the market price. But at the end of the day, one has to always remember, any prices you take is actually subject to certain assumption on the volume. If the volume is not there, therefore the price is not realizable, but still is something
so
the NAV capture. These are all exceptional conditions.
Very often.
Correct.
I would like to ask one more concerning, because this is a special opportunity when I am getting to hear from a horse's mouth, which is you run, going by the numbers that you are saying, you are over 10% of the mutual fund industry, so you are a very sizable player. What are the kind of issues which investors complain about, and how do you redress it? Which is the most popular complaint?
See, I think interestingly, I keep doing the analysis. See, the compliance is not so much on the return. The compliance is more on the service side, and
What
maybe
kind of
ease
service?
of transactions. Now, if you want some kind of account statement,
No, I can give you 5 complaints right now. But
See,
because we are
account-
generally complaining.
Hey,
but,
one is around the communications. I think communication is one where the way the products have to be understood, and sometimes they may or may not have a proper understanding of the product for which he is making the investment. Therefore, that's one generally get some kind of observations. And second, complaints are largely around transmissions, and there is a transmission which has to happen. There is the first holders died, and they have to move on to the nominated person, and so on and so forth. And sometimes we may get some kind of complaint. But otherwise, largely the complaints are more around the account statement not being received on time, and I have given a transaction, and those transactions have been rejected due to some reason, for unknown reasons. Sometimes we do get kind of complaints, and of course, when we look back, and we sometimes we say that yes, transaction has been rejected not because of my fault, because your bank has rejected it.
Okay.
And the banks also do reject the transactions after the first installment due to some signature difference. But I think this will probably become a thing of the past, given the fact that everything now is going towards digital and more on ECS kind of mandate in which they are moving. Therefore, some of those complaints that used to come, the transaction getting rejected due to some kind of signature difference.
But the transmission thing is a real problem. It is worthwhile to be a little cautious on that front, because
Exactly.
that will be a legal issue. Somebody else taking away somebody else's money.
Correct.
On the inheritance.
Exactly. But that, of course, again, the industry has got a common practice. But sometimes the documents that we insist for, it may be seen as if we are asking for too many documents. We also make the investors understand. Sometimes the documents being taken to the being asked for in full, it's the interest of him as well. So that's why we always say that sometimes the documents being asked, especially in the transmission cases, it's better to protect actually the beneficiary in a manner that tomorrow he doesn't have any problem by way of claim coming from other his relatives and so on and so forth. But that's something which is sometimes the complaints do come.
I'm actually, supposed to ask you a question that what should an investor think when choosing a mutual fund? But that's not the question. How do you go about choosing mutual fund for yourself?
I think
and that is what the investor should do.
Correct. Now, in my case, of course, since I am a salary employee at the end of the day, though I run a mutual fund, I am a salary employee, and I have 2 kids. Our wife is a housewife, and I need to ensure that my retirement is taken care. At the same time, I need to also ensure I make enough savings for both for my daughter's educations, as well as a marriage, as well as my son's educations, as well as for his future. And beyond that, whatever you do, also after I also have some element of interest in the social obligations. Therefore, you need to, of course, create money for everything. So the best way I do it is not the question of, the objective is not the question of wealth creation. Is about protecting your money for the long-term investments. How do you do it? The way I do it, 45 to 50% of my net take home after adjusting for all the expenditure that I have on a monthly basis. So I just do an SIP.
Okay.
And those SIPs, many times people do ask questions about large cap and mid cap and small cap. I don't bother about anything. I just have some allocation to a large cap out of the monthly automated SIP. Sometimes it goes up to even 60% of my net take home. I put in SIP, and knowing very well that I don't need this money now, but I need this money for later.
5 years, 10 years, 15 years
Correct.
later.
So because the money is being, I need this money after say 10 years later, the large proportion of the money I put it only in equity.
Okay.
And then equity, when I put across market cap. Including smaller market cap, I have large exposure. Given the fact that money is for 10 years. I don't bother about that, is it the right time to invest in mid cap or large cap. So that's the principle in which I apply. At the same time, you also need some portion of the money for fixed income. So a little bit of money I also put in fixed income. But for individually, personally, of course, people do ask me, Bala, why do you do that? You can put it in fixed income schemes and forget about it. But I am
you
also
have been a fixed income person.
Correct. But I have done actually voluntary PF out of some of my position, because Government of India also permits you to have a VPF, voluntary PF. So I have also increased my allocation towards that.
That is your fixed income.
That's my fixed income allocation. That I am using it for my retirement. And some portion of the money I do have investments in MAP kind of schemes. Which are just going for a pure fixed income. Go for a hybrid fixed income, and that can give me
because those fixed income are also long-term fixed income.
Long-term fixed income. So that's why I have now planned it. As a result of that, I don't look at my value of my investment every day, every month. I look at the value of the investment only at the time of me filing my return at the end of the year, which is in the month of July. I'll actually run the statement for the full year, and then at the time of filing the return, I just look at what is the cost of my investment and what is the value of the investment. If I not redeemed anything, then I don't need to even calculate my capital gain at all. So I hardly calculate my capital gain or capital loss every year. And I don't do any trades with
do
account.
transactions.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So you are a invest and sleep investor.
Exactly.
So to say.
And market, I think, always gives you reward. Only if your money is put to sleep and look at it only when need it.
No, you invest and do go to sleep. Okay, coming to another thing, you have early in your life, you were sitting in front of, market terminal, looking at prices every moment. Now you all have a smartphone, and now you have something called Birla Active. Active account. Birla Sun Life's active account. How actively are you using it?
I use it personally, and I use it from multiple angles. One, whenever I have money in my savings account, and I do keep some bit of amount for my withdrawals, every month withdrawals, I need that money. Therefore,
you don't need your secretary's help and you take your...
No, I don't do that. I just do it on my own.
All your investments are there.
Yeah, that's right. So I just go to the Active Account app and do a single swipe.
And you have been able to map all your folios in your Active
No, you need only one folio in that. So it's actually Active Account. What is an Active Account? Active Account is nothing but it's an application. It's a mobile application which will enable you to transfer the money from your savings account to the liquid fund account. From the liquid fund account back to your savings account. The reason why you have kept Active Account app only for serving the needs of moving from savings to liquid. From a customer point of view, he has to have ease of transactions. He should focus only on one fund, and at the same time, the purpose for which is coming is for just putting the money temporarily for a better use, and then redeem it whenever he wants it back. Therefore, it's a savings account of a bank, which is a liquid fund in which you are given this Active Account app. The way I do it when I have money in my savings account, but that money cannot be blocked for more than even 1 month. I just go and put the money in liquid fund and leave it at that. The other way I have tried, personally I have tried, for example, I am traveling in Bhubaneswar today, and earlier I have been to Trichy while on the highway traveling. I just go to my app and then say it is working on the highway. Sometimes I am overseas, I'll just check whether it's working actually when I am overseas.
Okay.
And it works beautifully. So that's why we created the platform. Anywhere in the country, when you suddenly realize that you have some money in your savings account, when you receive an SMS from your bank that you have so much of money lying in your savings account, that's the balance they give you, the first thing what can occur to your mind, just use an Active Account and transfer the money to the liquid fund.
Make your money earn
a little better. So liquid fund in general, it actually the return is tied to more or less the repo rate. Yeah. Repo rate is anywhere around 6%, and savings account gives you anywhere around 3.5% to 4%. The extra 2% return that you generate can definitely help you take care of your hotel expenses, monthly electricity bills and so on. Any small amount that you add to your return does help you and save somewhere on your expenditure.
Making your idle money work harder.
That's right.